Hello everyone and welcome back to the forge. Now I have this piece of file here that's left over from the elk antler through tang bowie knife that I made. They come off the end portion here. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to make something out of this. I don't know what it's going to be yet. A little bit of freeform forging, see what comes out of it. And I'm going to go ahead first and grind these teeth off of both sides so I'm not hammering a bunch of cold shuts in. So let's go ahead and get that done and then we'll get it tossed in the forge. here's how we're looking so far. Little harpoon point hunter. Made out of that scrap piece of foul that we did the elk antler buoy with. Pretty happy with it. I ran in there with the grinder and cleaned the perimeter up a little bit, just kind of get a closer look to see what it was going to look like. Forged it pretty close. I'm pretty happy with that. Haven't got to do a lot of forging of late, but pretty happy with it. Now, when we left off last time, we had our knife rough forged. We had the profile a little cleaned up. Since then, I have rough ground the bevels in. I've got our pinholes drilled, and I just drilled out some little areas in the handle here to lighten the knife up, as well as give us an area for the epoxy to rest. Normally I would drill these all the way through, but my drill bit sucks, and so I didn't get to do that, so I just put some dimples in there. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get the forge lit up. I'm going to thermal cycle this knife 3 times to help refine the grain structure. Then we're going to quench it and get it cleaned up. Move on to the other things that need done. Alright, we'll get the forge lit, and I'll catch you in a minute. Alright, our knife is through tempering. Everything went great in the quench, came out nice and straight. Now that the tempering's finished, I'm going to go ahead and jump on the grinder and get all this cleaned off. We're going to run up through the grits a bit, get up to about a 220 on the flats and on the harpoon portion. And then I'm going to take it over to some Scotch-Brite belts. And we're just going to do a Scotch-Brite finish on this knife. And we're probably going to go with some blue and black G10. So that's enough talking. Let's get to work. All right, I got our blade to a good place. I'm gonna take our piece of G10 here over to the mill. We're gonna go ahead and get the pinholes drilled, get the pins put in, handle material shaped, and then we should be ready to glue it up. Alright, so now what I did was I took my knife, put the pinholes in it sitting here against the G10, and then I just took this scribing pen right here and just scribed around the outside edge. I will cut these out, leaving myself plenty of space, because as you can tell here, there's a little movement because these holes are 5/32 holes and I'm using an 1/8 of an inch pin. So I'll cut it a little proud all the way around. And then once we glue it up and it's set up and we go to shape the handle and stuff, I can grind it in nice and flush. So let's get over to the little bandsaw and get it cut out. Alright, a couple of quick things about this. First, obviously, the no-brainer is wear breathing protection. When you work with this stuff, it's fiberglass and resin, I believe, and it can get pretty nasty if you don't wear breathing protection. It's also good after cutting it if you don't have a filtration system or vents in your workshop to leave the space, let the dust settle before taking your mask off. Also, don't cut this with a wooden bandsaw blade, a wood cutting bandsaw blade, because it will dull the heck out of it. Using metal cutting bandsaw blade might be a little slower, but trust me, it'll be worth it in the end. You're not going to be ruining a blade. Then when you go back and you try to cut some handle scales or something out, you won't be able to do it. I learned that the hard way one time. So, with that being said, we have our components here ready. So, all that's left to do now is to come in here and shape the front ends of our G10. And then we'll go over there and we'll grind our angle on the front of it, like I do on all my handle material. And then we'll go ahead and glue it up. And then we'll move on to shaping the handle afterward. Alright, I'm going to go glue this up, and then once it sets up, we'll shape the handle. Let's get after it. Alright, all ready for glue up. I took a piece of 80 grit sandpaper and I scuffed the portion of the G10 handle material that will be against the tang just to help it get a little more grip, more bite, epoxy somewhere to set into. I've cleaned them both up real well. Our pins are cleaned up. I've got our tang ready. I've got some Q-tips set here on the side to get in the little bitty tough areas. And I've also got some acetone ready. And I'm using these kind of clamps. So let's go ahead and get it glued up. I also have a scrap piece of Kydex. Whenever I have little slivers left over, I use these to stir my epoxy with. Alright, our epoxy is set up. I'm going to go cut these pins off. We're going to shape the outside of the handle, and we'll discuss what we're going to do to the sides of it. Now that the perimeter's all cleaned up, I'm going to come in here with the handle on my small wheel attachment, and I'm going to grind in some scallops along the handle, and then we'll flip it over, and we can do it on the bottom side as well. We'll just do it staggered from where the ones are at the top. Should give us a neat pattern along here. Now you don't have to have a grinder like this to do this. You can actually do it with a Dremel tool. If you have a lot of extra time, you can even do it with a file. I've done it with a Dremel before, done it with a file before. This depends on how much time you want to put into it. But with that being said, let's go ahead. I'm also using a 220 belt for this. So let's get it done. Alright, there's how she turned out. I appreciate you checking out this video. If you would, hit that subscribe button down below, ring the notification bell as well, notify them of this content as it posts. I appreciate you all for watching. I'll catch you on the next one. You all have a good one. Bye-bye.